Okay, and then the last choice we have is a priest, the Ministerium priest. The priest and the tech priest, they don't count against your 2 HQs that you can have. I would consider the priest, and let me tell you why. If you take the super squad or blob, and we'll talk about that in the troop section again, this guy lets you, he gives that unit righteous fury, which is a very good special rule that they can use. So basically, if you want to do close combat guard, I would consider a priest. You know, he's 45 points, but with righteous fury, it allows them to re-roll their hits. With a weapon skill of 3, you're going to be hitting most guys on a 4+. So that allows you a few more hits. And like I said, 45 points, maybe even give him an eviscerator for 15, but that's as much as I would go, because he only has a 1 wound. Yeah, he has a 4. He has a 5 armor and a 4 invulnerable save, but 1 wound. So he'll most likely. And he does have the independent character rule. So he'll most likely go down first round of combat. But if you're playing a salty unit like a blob of 30 guardsmen and you get the charge off, your opponent might not be expecting it. Might be worth taking. That's a tough call. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much the quick and dirty for our HQ choices. What we're going to talk about now in this video is the orders, or giving orders. In my opinion, what made the Guard really cool in this edition is the fact that you can give orders. Your company command, as was mentioned earlier, can give 2 orders up to a unit that's within 12. Recapping, if it's in a vehicle, you can count any part of the vehicle. If your HQ is in a vehicle and another squad is in a vehicle that is inside, you cannot give inside of that vehicle. So no shenanigans there. They have to be outside the vehicle. But I really like the order system. Basically, you roll on the squad's leadership 2 dice, and that's typically 7s and 8s. If you make it, then they take the order. If you don't, then they don't do the order. And of course, if you roll double 1s, you get an extra order. If you roll double 6s, you can't issue any more orders. So, there's some upside and downside. I really like the way that plays. And the box over here lets you re-roll. So that's really cool to have, especially if you're, relying on orders. All right, as company commanders, you have basically 3 orders at the company level, and then there's 3 orders at the platoon level. At the company level, the first command we're going to talk about is bring it down, or bring it down. Bring it down is one of my favorite ones. It's really a good way for putting the hurt on monstrous creatures or vehicles. Basically, what bring it down does is all these orders you can only give to 1 squad, but it lets you treat your shooting as twin length. So actually, if you have a squad of 3 las cannons and you give that order, they're getting to re-roll. That's a pretty darn good thing to do right there. I actually run currently, I have more, but I'm currently running 3 las cannons and 3 autocannons in my heavy weapons squads. Alright guys, I'm losing my focus. I need to get a tripod or something. This manually holding this while I talk is sort of sucks. Anyways, the next order is fire on my target. That one's good also. It basically doesn't let your enemy take a cover save. That's going to be really good against NIDs, orcs, anything that's using cheap units in front of more expensive units to help cover them. That would be a good one. I use that one not as often as Bring It Down, but I like using it. That's probably my second most favorite. And then the last one at the company level is Get Back Into the Fight. Alright, now we're going to talk about Get Back Into the Fight. Man, I need to... Anyways, Get Back Into the Fight. It allows a unit that's falling back to regroup. So if someone's within 6 inches of you, you can regroup if you get that command off. That's very handy to have. And if a unit has gone to ground and you give them that order, then they can get up and act normally. So that's another good thing to use. Getting back into the fight. I haven't really used it but once, but I can see its potential. Alright guys, since we're talking about orders here, we're going to go ahead and we'll talk about the platoon level. There's 3 orders in there. We'll go ahead and talk about them. One of the most common ones, now your company commander, he can do the platoon level or the command level. So he has a choice of 6, where your platoon commanders only have a choice of these 3 coming up. The first one is first rank fire, second rank fire. That's probably one of the most common ones used. Incoming, and then move, move, move. Okay, first rank fire, second rank fire is huge. It allows a unit to take 1 additional shot. So if you're in rapid fire range, that's 12 for the las guns. Then instead of taking 2 strength 3 shots, you could get 3. Okay, if you're running a super squad of 30 and you give that order, well, instead of 40 shots, that's right, it's 60 shots. Holy cow. If you're shooting out to 24 inches, instead of 1 shot, you get 2, so that's still pretty good. Remember, guard, our strength is firepower, and this order right here is probably the most used, especially at the platoon level. Alright, move, move, move. I've only used it once, and that was a capture an objective. What that basically does is lets you run a unit. Well, you know, you can always run, but you get to roll 3 dice to see how far they go, which if you need to get a unit across the board, that's not a bad one to have. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is incoming. Incoming gives you a +2 when you go to ground instead of the regular +1 to your cover save. I have yet to use one, but I can use that one, sorry. But I can see using that one, especially if you have a unit that's sitting on an objective, say it's in woods or they got some kind of cover, to make it more difficult for your opponent to shoot them off the cover. Anyway guys, that's the pretty much quick and dirty. I know I didn't cover every rule, but that wasn't my intention. Yes, I know these guys aren't painted. I'd really like to get some painting done. But anyways, this is the first video on my thoughts on how to play the Imperial Guard, and hope you enjoyed it. More coming soon, promise.